An interesting experience when those two are together on the analyst desk there. Great to have Gandhi in the building this weekend. A lot of old friends and many new here. One of my old friends now, though, is Joey Merck DeLuca.
It was just as great as that thing on screen.
You
I was
saw
like,
that
what
down
is
there?
that? That was beautiful.
We recorded those for about an hour. There's one that I think we haven't used yet of Maven giving me a piggyback ride.
Yeah.
A couple others where they wind up throwing Maven's jacket in the garbage, the yellow jacket, all sorts of things. We're trying new things this weekend. Hope you're enjoying it here at the CWL Atlanta Open. Merck, here though, we've got Infused versus Mindfreak, two prominent international teams going at it. I want to first hear a little breakdown from you. What are you expecting this matchup? Who are you watching out for?
I definitely just want to watch Mindfreak and see how they keep improving. Obviously, Infused, they've had some close matches as well. Both of these guys, I mean, they were thrown into a very tough pool. I mean, we can agree it was definitely the pool of death, and they've played relatively well.
And I saw some people tweeting about, Mindfreak, they haven't won a series yet, but they've been close. I believe 2 Game 5s and a Game 4. They've been holding their own against these tough opponents. They need to realize one thing, and that is, even though Mindfreak might not have the best showing in pool play, they can still go for that championship losers bracket run.
Absolutely. I mean, it just takes a little bit of a momentum. The hardest thing, I think, is that first match Sunday morning. If they get there, it's very tough to get that momentum back.
Well, let's get into it. Mindfreak going up against Infused on the main stage here. After this match, we begin MLG Primetime with our championship winners bracket round 1 matches. But for now, one final Pool A matchup. And off the break, we're watching Marky B, the Scottish man, going off with the NV4.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just what you want to see from Marky. He's sort of that in-game leader, plays that anchor position, and I don't know about you, but I love seeing all the different weapons used this weekend. That ERAD, that NV4, the K-bar as usual.
Oh, definitely. It's beautiful to see the balance coming into play, but let's talk a little bit about Marky B, because he's been around for a long time in competitive Call of Duty. Have you gone up against him before?
Too many times.
Too many times. Good.
I just remember, preparation for 2014 champs. Marky and his team came to the Envy House and destroyed us, but somehow we finished second. But you can just see they're such a talented team.
Oh, definitely. And with a great leadership like Marky B, another one that comes to mind is Josh, obviously from Splice. Some veteran European players still competing here in 2017 as we begin the rotation towards the barn. Mindfreak down by about 7 right now, but it's very early in the game. These names on Mindfreak: Buzzo, Excite, Shocks, Fighter. You don't have to watch a ton of ANZ or APAC Call of Duty, but you've definitely heard of these names if you're a competitive Call of Duty fan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all three of these guys from Mindfreak have been here for a very long time. They win basically everything down there in Australia. And then Excite, he has been amazing to watch this entire event.
Yeah.
He's been the one with the ERAD being very aggressive, as you can see here. This is a guy that puts pressure on those teams, and we talked about it before. They break hard points very easily because of this guy right here.
Hey, when he's doing stuff like this, you can see why it works out for him now. The disadvantage they were at earlier, now completely wiped off the board. Mindfreak, some of these guys have been teaming together for 4+ years, and it shows in their communication. But Joe, I do want to bring up the fact that these guys came out here a week early.
Yep.
They boot camped a little bit. What does that one say about the mindset of this team going into the Global Pro League coming up, as well as, what opportunity does it give a team who does do something like a boot camp prior to an event?
It just tells you how serious they're taking this and how they want to compete at the highest level. Mindfreak, every time they were at Stage 1 and Stage 2 last year, always scrimming against North American teams, getting as much time in as they can.
Yeah, they just recognize real, basically saying, hey, you guys have a ton of talent. Let's learn from it as much as we can. As we shift our focus back to this game, though, it is Mindfreak currently up by about 14 seconds. We're on the bike path, hard point, and still this game very close. Slang about even right now between these two squads.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Buzzo just picked up his first kill of the entire game, and they're still up 22. Fighter and Excite, those are the two guys. So much skill and talent between them. They're putting up a heck of a fight versus Infused.
Well, you got to love the roles on this Mindfreak team. There's a reason why they've been really the winningest squad in Australian Call of Duty history, without a doubt. I mean, there's no argument that can even be made down there. On the side of Infused, though, they're in an interesting position because they've got a couple events coming up. Obviously, this one this weekend, and then next week at ESWC, where their goal is not only to perform well, but a lot of talk has been about Splice and Orbit, but not Infused themselves. They've got an opportunity now to put themselves in that top echelon of teams in the EU region.
Oh, absolutely. And I think coming into this event, they were sort of overlooked, right? I think Infused had a great event at Gfinity. Obviously, this game is 5-10, double negative. You want to see more from him because he can be such a superstar slayer. But Infused, if they do well at this event, a lot more eyes will be on them in the future.
Oh, definitely. And Moose, actually, the interesting part, and I want to hear your perspective on this because I'm sure at times during your career you had some doubters. And, you know, is Merc still at it? Does he have what it takes? Everyone was questioning Moose after the performance at the CWL London event because he was rocking that Synaptic combat rig, which got banned out. And people were wondering, was he doing that well just because of that combat rig, or is he actually that talented? Is that something that affects you as a player where that's all you're hearing instead of just actually attributing it to the skill you have as a player?
I think it just sort of pisses you off even more. You just want to go to the next event and prove people wrong. So I know that's what Moose is doing. He has a talent. I remember when I first heard of this guy, there was a lot of hype around him, especially during the Ghost era. I know Moose can play at the highest level. And
this is a guy that has come to North America to compete at before. He's been in the top of Europe many times in his career, had one of the best placings for a European team on North American soil ever back at, what was that, Anaheim 2014?
Yeah. So, historian, Jack, you're a historian.
See, people think I'm clueless. I've got an idea at times, but this is a guy that's really done everything in European Call of Duty, looking to make it happen now on North American soil again. Still a very close game right now, but the big thing to point out, Mert, Buzzo is 2-12. Apparently, he's trying to match Havoc's 2-17 start from a little bit earlier today.
And this is sort of the issue around the roster, right? Buzzo is that sort of slow AR player, and if he doesn't have a very fast start versus North American and European teams, it's very hard to win consistently. So a lot of pressure on him to sort of step up, at least get around to that even point of view. But you have Excite, 22-14. This is what we were talking about. He puts so much pressure on the map with that ERAD.
I'm going to attribute most of Excite's kills to the fact that we look similar, and that gives him an extra bit of effort inside the game. But this guy, he's coming into this with a lot of pressure on him because he's now the new fourth of Mindfreak. People were wondering, you know, how would he fit in? He's got some big shoes to fill now with Dens being gone, but so far this weekend, he's looked very solid and leading his team right now at 23-16. He's definitely impressing me.
Yeah, and I think Buzzo talked about it in a content piece where he's just not trying to prove people that he should be on this team to the rest of the world. He's trying to show these guys I should be on this team.
Oh, 100%. He actually tweeted when he joined the squad, this has been a dream of mine for years. I mean, joining Mindfreak, being a part of this team, has been the epitome of what you could do in the Australia-New Zealand Call of Duty scene. And now he's done it. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. What can he do? Again, we don't want to keep harping on it, but I'm going to bring it up. 2-14 from Buzzo, and this team is still up by 30 seconds. What do Infused need to do right now to pull away? I mean, this is one where if I'm Marky B and Moose, I'm telling my teammates in PD and Nelson, boys, we got to kick this one into gear. There's no way we should be down in this game.
Oh, absolutely. And you have to slow down either Fight or Excite. You can't let them getting one or two pieces because obviously Buzzo's not there trading those kills, you know, so they're obviously putting a lot of multi-kills together. And this is what Excite does. This is what I was talking about. Such a smart player with that ERAD. I would have liked to see him use that FTL jump right there.
Beautiful that you bring that up because that's where I was going next with this one. So far, I've loved seeing FTL jump paired with the ERAD for the ability to kind of cut down that range gap where the ERAD can kind of fall off a little bit. There would have placed him basically right behind the player as you see PD pop that reactive armor of his own, trying to stay alive, being challenged by two players. He'll whip the reload there, and Mindfreak should retake control of the hard point. But yeah, FTL jump used much more this weekend now that the likes of Rewind is no longer in play. And I've seen a couple good moments with it, but for the most part, it seems like it's still in a learning curve for this payload.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to go back to that reactive armor pop by PD. I'm not sure that was the best thing.
Okay.
Luckily, Infused was able to break that baseball field setup, but this is really one of those money hills. I would have liked to see him use that to break, because, I mean, there was only 10-15 seconds left on that bridge hill. But luckily, you know, Infused is able to get control of this baseball field and get back into this game.
Reactive at times is one of those where you see people just kind of use it out of panic.
Right.
Because you start seeing a couple shoot at you. You don't take into fact how much time there is on the hard point, what the goal should be with using that payload. So you just use it to try to stay alive in that scenario. And it might come back to bite you. Right now, Infused, they're playing from the back foot as they do not have the spawns at the moment. They've got at least one entry kill, but Mindfreak still in control of this hard point, still in control of the lead. And at the end of the second rotation, it's the Australian crew still in command.
Yeah, and they've just been getting better and better at hardpoint. I mean, I know there was a lot of eyes on them in the open bracket, and they dropped a few, or a good amount of hardpoint. So a lot of people thought going into pool play, these guys are going to get absolutely destroyed by some of the top NA teams, but they've been taking away some of those games. So it's good to see them improve throughout the weekend.
Oh, and this just gets me excited for what the future of Call of Duty World League is in 2017, because the big focus has been the global aspect. Both of these squads heavy favorites in their region in regards to being in that top 3, being in that top 2 with Infused and Mindfreak. Infused, they've been fighting from the back foot this whole game. What is one thing now after watching about 8 minutes of gameplay from these guys that they just need to change up in this one? Is it the rotations? Is it the entry kills? What is it for you?
Well, we touched on it before. They're getting the rotations.
Okay.
I just think they have to hold it, and that comes down to sort of slowing down Excite and Fida. You can't let those guys sort of two-piece you and open up those hills and get those spawns. So it seems like they're obviously rotating, but they're just not executing very well.
Exactly. Getting that first wave of kills is so key, and this is now a worry if you're a European Call of Duty fan, as Infused are spawning all the way out. They're trying to push downfield. They will get here in time, but it's these kills on rotation we talk about. They do get 2 for the moment, so that's a silver lining here in this game, as now Mindfreak look to challenge back in, and Joe, you're pointing right at the screen. Who is it? Excite and Fida with 3 to their name as they completely wipe Infused out yet again.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about. They were able to get a few entry kills. You know, they're spawning 2 of those Mindfreak players out, and then Excite just picks up a 2-piece. You can't allow that to happen. That would have probably tied up the game, maybe even gave Infused the lead.
I don't know what I'm watching right now. Excite is 35 and 27, 62 engagements. His teammate is 9 and 20, 29 engagements. Are they in 2 different maps?
Absolutely. That just comes down to playstyles. This is what we're talking about. Buzzo, a very slow player. Excite, obviously a very excited player.
Oh.
And he has that FTL jump. Let's see if he's able to use it here. Again, I feel like that's one of those points where you just pop it and just have the defending player just look the other way.
Yeah, but hey, credit to him because of your point earlier. In that situation, only 8 seconds left in that hard point. Maybe not the time to exactly use it there, but hey, when you're this close to winning, any second will matter for you. Infused, you need to put a good hold on this bike path right now. You've got some tools to work with. You see there from Nolson, the active camo ready to be popped at his disposal. Marky B also with that payload. They've got to stay alive as challenges are still coming in. You got Marky B and Nolson right now both on a 1 streak. But
yeah, and
there's the break.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I mean, it just doesn't seem like Infused is trading those kills. And now Nolson's put into a position where does he have to use this camo now to sort of break this hill? I would love to have him save it in case they have to break that next hill.
Yep.
This baseball field is one where they can definitely come back into the game. Let's see how Nolson plays this.
Excite is looking lights out. Nolson doing everything he can to try to match this. A quiet game from him right now. Least amount of kills on his team, tied for the least amount of time as well. You just need a little bit more from this player. Mindfreak now within 15 seconds of taking map number 1. It is going to come down to this baseball hardpoint. Excite has some streaks to work with. Does he elect to use them here? Let's find out.
Yeah, and I think he did spot that guy.
Oh, gosh.
He has FTL jump. Again, I would like to see him using there, but that's what we were talking about. Nolson pops camo, so does Shocks, though. And this could be a very huge play, you know, for Mindfreak to break this hill. This is one of those hard points that's very tough to beat. But again, Shocks able to pick up one, Fida picks up another. And it looks like, again, Mindfreak able to break the Infused setup.
We talk about how important this hard point is. So many resources being used. 3 payloads already out. Streaks being called in as well. Infused doing everything they can to stay alive, but it does look like Mindfreak have held it off for another second. FTL jump gets used by Marky B. It's for naught. One final push for Infused. Can they get the break? It does appear so, as Nolson stays alive in the hard point for the moment. One more player there. Mindfreak should have it in the bag. There it is, 250 to 199.
Yeah, and just a very good job by Excite and Fight. I mean, Buzzo obviously not having the best game, you know, at this event, but just doing what they have to do. I would have liked to see them rotate a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think that when they face sort of those top NA teams, it's going to be very difficult to break those hills if they're not rotated.
Ooh, tough first game there for Infused, but Mindfreak, that one is a win single-handedly for me off the back of Excite. The new 4th player on this lineup looking so darn good right now. And you know what? That's going to be a great feeling for Buzzo because he's been a part of Mindfreak for so long. And now to have this new 4th come in and say, hey, listen, Buzzo, you might have had a slow start to that game, but I've got us. What do you drop? 40+ kills right now? I'm trying to look 41. From Excite, 74 total engagements.
You don't see that very often in Infinite Warfare, not at all. I mean, it's just one of those games where those rotations are so key, but throwback. It can be a bit more fast-paced than maybe your Retaliation or your Scorch just because of those spawns. But a very good job by Excite.
Oh, I absolutely love it. We'll take a look at some of the clips from that game. It's probably going to be an Excite show from what went down in it. But early on, we were talking about how these two teams look so even off the break. But we continued to see one player make the difference, and it was Excite with that ERAD. It gets me so excited, Joe, to now see those submachine guns come back into play a little bit here in Infinite Warfare. But for the most part, it's very clear to see that it is situational.
Absolutely.
It is around certain maps, certain game modes where it definitely works, but at other times, you just need to know when to keep that weapon away.
Yeah, and it's just going to come with the more and more people play with it, the more they'll sort of understand the aspects and where you need to position yourself. I think we're sort of seeing it with Throwback, with that Frost uplink. That's where you might even see 2 on that map. So I think the more and more that's sort of brought into the meta, the more we'll see players use it.
And look at this, folks. A nice little box score breakdown for you of how that game all played out. The big thing for me, that barn hard point, Joe, and I know you're reacting to it now, 108 in time to the 48 of Infused. That tells a story right there.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those that's one of those hills where we saw Infused in favorable positions. They just weren't able to clutch up, and you can see how much it hurt them. And to be honest, I was just very impressed by this graphic. I thought it's amazing.
Shout out to the production team, improving on, really, for me, every aspect since Vegas. It's great to see. So far this weekend, the coverage has been unmatched. The venue looks incredible, and there's only more to be excited about. We have not even started this championship bracket yet, but we touched a little bit on the ERAT, and obviously its use in certain areas definitely has a viability on Scorch, Search, and Destroy, which we're going to be getting into next. But of the teams in North America that are maybe struggling a little bit this weekend, or teams that you think can definitely go to the next level if they bring out that weapon, is there any that come to mind right now?
I'm thinking Rise.
Okay.
I've seen Looney play with it a little bit, but I feel like they're sort of missing that OSA just a bit because it relies on that fast-paced action. I think that's how like Facento likes to play, how Looney likes to play. So we'll see if they're able to adapt to that and bring that into their game. Obviously, your Vegas champs, there was something there that sort of helped them elevate to that level, and I think the ERAD could be it.
The ERAD, a tool that could be dominated by teams if in the right hands. There is Marky B. We talked about his leadership, and right now he's communicating with his team saying, boys, we've got to start to come back in this one, because remember, the teams and pools aren't eliminated if they don't get in the top 2, but they start where basically every match is a must-win. From then on out, they're in the championship losers bracket, and they've got a long road ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even more important for teams from Europe and APAC here because they need all the pro points possible. So just that one-round advantage can be such a huge help to them to sort of qualify for that Global Pro League.
Joe, I know you've been working a lot about the whole Global Pro League and things on those lines. How excited are you for it, man? It's got to be great to see someone who's been so involved in Call of Duty from the beginnings to now to see something like this finally come into play.
Absolutely. I mean, the CWL team has been awesome to work with, and it's been one of those things where we just want it to get out there. We want everybody to see it, to be a part of it, and finally it's here, so I can't wait for that Global Pro League to be here, man.
Oh, and we saw already 16 teams will be involved. Europe with, what, 6 of those?
Yep.
Overall, 1 from APAC, which very well could be this Mindfreak squad. They've got a pro point battle ahead of them. I believe their brethren in Tainted Minds and Chiefs, I believe, have both already been eliminated this weekend, falling in that open bracket. It is time, though, for game number 2. Going to be Scorch, Search, and Destroy, where you can easily bring out the submachine guns. The sniper watching over that B-bomb can be deadly, and teamwork and team communication with the basically making sure if you see an enemy, 4 of you are shooting at him at once is so key to stop plants on this B-bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. Not even the B-bomb site. More and more throughout this tournament, we're seeing people play this site A, and I love seeing it. I think that's what we were missing at Vegas, just not some site diversity. But again, Infused, I don't know if they were able to watch, but Mindfreak was just a team that played on this map.
Yeah.
And Mindfreak has a very slow, methodical play style on it. So let's see if Mindfreak will switch it up, or if Infused have an idea how they play.
I love it, Joe. Love to hear it. And look at this already. You talk about how there's been a little bit more favor towards one side of the map this event than last time, and we're seeing it right away. The reason why, you can get a great plant spot and rotate all the way back through that top sky bridge, but unfortunately, Excite runs right into the trap. There's the passive play from Infused, baiting the boys of Mindfreak right into their trap.
Yeah, and it was just very odd to me. The Mindfreak, what they did, they sent 2 on that wall run, and other 2 were playing middle. Something we don't see as much, in Search and Destroy is teams sort of split up from one another. Luckily, Shox was able to pick one of Infused off.
Yeah.
And you can see as a bomb, I believe, is about to go down, and all of Infused had decided to wrap that base.
Yeah, the Europeans love to stay active on the map. That's one thing I noticed at the CWL London event. It will be a 3v3 retake opportunity as Fida just watching towards this back door. Petey will be the first to challenge. Does make it a 3v2, and he's going to wait for his teammates' help. They should know exactly where these final two players are here momentarily. Yeah, I do not see how this one works out for Mindfreak. Not at all. PD cuts him down. Infused on the board first.
Yeah, and Mindfreak end up going for that planet A. And with that site change, it's so difficult to sort of defend it after you plant. I mean, you saw all three of them were just stuck in that hut. Yep. Makes it very difficult because all of Infused flanked that base, knew that they didn't go back to that offensive spawn.
Yeah, and you can kind of see from Fight Out where he was watching, well, yes, they could have guessed that maybe they overextended. In that opportunity for Infused, they really could have been coming from anywhere. And Mindfreak, you could tell by just, hey, let's just hole up in this room. Hopefully we get a first kill, and then we can all push out one side. But the pinch came in once PD got that first blood to open up that round for his team. Infused do strike first with that defensive round win, but now they'll try their hand at offense, and it looks like they're going to favor this B site.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see on Mindfreak, all four of those players very spread out, just trying to gain information. Infused, just taking their time, hoping Mindfreak won't see anything at this B bomb site and will over-rotate, and then Infused will have a four-man push to try to get this bomb down.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times this weekend where teams will spot one player on a certain side of the map. For example, here, if Marky B shows himself, Mindfreak can't overcommit to one area just because they see one person, but with all these shots coming in, they should know, hey, there's some pressure towards B. We've got to keep some bodies here.
Yeah, and you saw two of the players at Mindfreak that were at A. They knew they didn't see anything down that long hallway, rotated back to their teammates. Fighter picking up that Marky B kill. It seemed like Marky B was trying to late flank, maybe just get an angle, but PD does able to pick up one on Excite.
It was more of a lurk play from Marky B, but the rest of his teammates make up for it there as it's now a 3 versus 1. Fighter left last alive. That's actually a free kill onto PD, so that definitely makes things a little bit easier for him. I do like how he's playing this round. Spots one, but the challenge comes in from both players on Infused. That's how it's done. Make him try to shoot at both of you at once, and unfortunately, there's no perk that lets that happen in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and that's just something you were talking about. Infused, just very active on the map, just looking for him. Even when they had 20 seconds to plant the bomb, they were looking for that gunfight.
And it's great to see. This is that leadership we talk about. They know exactly what they have to do. I love seeing teams stay active. It's basically the idea behind it. If you're wondering why teams do that a lot, one is because it makes it a little bit easier to, makes it a little bit tougher for the player by themselves to clutch a 1v2 when you're both catching them off guard, flying around. But the other thing is that you're eliminating possible areas where that final player could be. It's basically just process of elimination. We've cleared this, we've cleared this, we've cleared this. He's basically just got to be here. And then when you fly at it, most times he is there. Thankfully for Infused, after that rough map 1 loss, they're now up 2-0 in this S&D as they look to tie up the series.
Yeah, and Mindfreak right away making their an adjustment to their offensive A push. They sent 4 down that hallway instead of just 2, and they were able to just back the players out of Infused out of there because the Infused guys knew how difficult it is to retake that bomb site as 2. They wanted to get back as a unit, and now we're into a 2v2 with that bomb down. Only 27 seconds left. Buzzo picking up another one. Nolson in a 1 versus 1 versus Buzzo.
And this is so tough for Nolson because he's got no idea where Buzzo could be, but Buzzo actually shows himself, and Nolson's got to chase this one out. Buzzo knows it, though. The veteran Australian player will just back on up. Not going to be enough time. Nolson will win this round. Or sorry, Buzzo will win this round for his team. As Nolson just looks to potentially take a kill for the road. Not going to happen.
And that's just one of those plays where if you're Nolson and you see Buzzo just sort of get out of that door, just take a risk, get on that bomb and try to defuse it. It's just, it's the only thing you can possibly do.
Especially in that scenario, right? It's one of those things where if you're going to give yourself any chance, he basically should just go stand next to the bomb.
Right.
So if Buzzo goes to fly at it like he did right there, he's at least near it to maybe hit that square and pick up the bomb right away and go for the defuse. In the end, it doesn't happen, and obviously we have a little bit more information than Nolson does with this Codcaster mode. But now look at the play from Mindfreak. They're getting aggressive towards this B side.
Yeah, and again, Marky's all alone by Infused, but all of Mindfreak decide to push out this bomb site, and now it's a 3v2 for Infused, and this is what we were talking about, sort of that lurk play out of Marky. He's able to come through middle, but Fighter is able to pick him up, and again, a 1 versus 1 for the round win. Moose versus Fighter.
A little bit of a pacing issue there, and Moose gets punished. An example of one of those spots where maybe different play styles can affect your team. Moose with that NV4. Obviously wanting to left trigger, go from range, and when his teammate Marky needs him, he's not there for the backup. Fighter punishes him for it, as now we're tied up 2-2.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations we were talking a lot on the desk, is when a team seems to be more decisive, they seem to take a round. Mindfreak just pushes through that A bomb site, picks up that first blood, and they're just able to trade effectively.
What did we just see right there from Excite?
Already. Who was that? I believe it was Fighter already with reactive ammo. Or reactive armor.
Reactive ammo. Now that, I would like that. I would like that. As we'll see what he can do. Love this play, but unfortunately, because he does it without seeing anybody, this could be a waste of the payload, and it does appear so. I think he maybe hears a call from his teammate or just hopes that there's someone in there. At least Mindfreak do get this first blood, but you could say that that was a waste of the reactive armor.
Oh, it absolutely was a waste. I mean, that's such a powerful weapon. I love the idea to just use it right away, and Nolson almost able to make something of it, but MF take 3 rounds in a row. This is what you want to see from these guys. A great response, but again, back to that play.
Yeah.
You want to see him use it because I don't think Infused expects it, right? And maybe there's another chance he gets it in a later round.
That's the big thing, because there is a decision to be made. Right now it's 3-2. We're only 6 rounds in, but he had that earned from what? Sorry, wow, that was terrible math. We're going into our 6th round. We're only 5 rounds done, but he had already earned that reactive armor. By him popping it that early, he's already on the way to his 2nd one, and honestly, if there was a player in there, they helped clear out that room. You can make an argument for either side if it was a waste, if it wasn't. One thing I know for sure, Mindfreak did win the round. So we open up round number 6 with players trading kills as Buzzo, Shox, and Fighter are up against PD, Moose, and Nolson. What a spot!
Wow. What a great spot by Shox. He's able to pick up the 3rd one. Beautiful play from Shox, and that's now 4 rounds in a row for Mindfreak. And again, Fighter, Excite, Shox, they're playing very well. Still not much out of Buzzo yet, but they're putting these rounds together.
I'll be honest, I talked to Mindfreak a little bit earlier, and they are not very happy with their Australia-New Zealand friends, who obviously there's this whole race for the 1 spot in the Global Pro League, and I heard them talking a little bit about it, saying, oh, they think they're the best, this team thinks they're the best, but they're already eliminated, we're still here playing. And now they're showing up on the main stage 4 rounds in a row. Can they keep this momentum going? How beautiful would it be for this squad to go up 2-0 into the uplink? Camo now being popped right off the break. There's a kill for Shox. He's going to continue this 8-5 performance. Beautiful stuff from him.
Yeah, and again, taking a bit of a risk there, popping Camo blind. I mean, he doesn't know if anybody's there. He could obviously take a pretty calculated guess, but I wish they would at least see Infused before they pop those payloads, but the risk pays off now in a 3v2. And it just looks like Mindfreak just getting together. Let's see if they're able to put the bomb down, as Marky B and Moose are just completely separated from one another.
Yeah, this is Infused. The only opportunity they can really get here is if this pinch from Moose winds up working out. No, he gives away his position without a kill. He'll be punished for it, and now it's Marky B 1v3 and has to defuse, and he's been spotted. This one's basically done.
Yeah, and we were talking about Marky B being away from Moose. As soon as Moose shoots, you saw all the guys from Mindfreak just jump at him. It's very difficult to do. Moose had to pick up that first kill to make it a 2v2 and make it possible for Infused to get back in the round. But now this will be 5 rounds in a row from Mindfreak. What a great response.
He's going to play exits here, try to maybe earn that FTL jump for round number 8. But let's talk about the difference in aggression from Mindfreak from their first round loss to this point here. And he'll just jump off into the lava. As there he goes for a swim.
Looks like it hurts.
Oh.
I don't know if you could swim in that, Jack.
I don't think you could. But you know what? I just wanted to say that, and I did, and now we're going to move on. But no, the aggression from early on, what did we see from Mindfreak? They sent 2 players to site, and then they had 2 players lurk middle. It didn't work. Since then, any aggression they do, it's a team of 4, everybody flying at them using their communication.
And again, they're just being very decisive, and you can see it again right away. Just 3 right up the middle. They're just playing so quick. Infused, nobody's even turned around yet, and it looks like they're going to be able to catch them off guard, just maybe.
And it's so smart from Buzzo, because he just calls the cross and gets back with his life. They know exactly where Infused are. Again, they're pinned inside this deck room, and Mindfreak should just push this one on out. They should have free kills. If Excite just goes for it, and as we see, they all get away. That's a best case scenario for Infused.
And now this is a really scary situation for Buzzo, but they don't know he's here. He's able to pick up one. And I like this play. Just get out, wait for your teammates. You're in a 4v2, and this is going to be very hard for Infused to get back into this round. Shox picks up 1. PD, the last one left, he does have the reactive. He's going to have to pop it, because if they lose this round, they're out, but he's getting team shot. Beautiful round out of Mindfreak. Great adjustments, as we were talking about. This is what you want to see from these guys. That decisiveness to just make a decision, hit out an area, and Infused just looked totally caught off guard.
6 rounds in a row for Mindfreak as they figured out how to play versus Infused, and they wound up using it to their advantage. They'll go up 2-0 now in our best of 5. You see it updated there on the main stage. Mindfreak play it so beautifully, great uses of the payloads, and you can just see their communication, even with this new fourth, is already fully intact. It's fun to watch, and now if you're Infused, your backs are up against the wall. This best-of-5 series could potentially end here in Uplink.
Yeah, and I mean, it just sucks for Infused because they had so many great series. They obviously opened the event up. They beat Rise. I mean, everybody's like, what the heck is happening? Then they lose a Game 5 to FaZe. So it just sucks to see because, I mean, they've had so many close series, but it just looks like they're out of this one.
Hey, the series is not done yet, though. Don't count out the Europeans. We'll be back for game number 3, going to be Uplink on Precinct right after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the continued coverage of the Call of Duty World League Atlanta Open presented by the PlayStation 4. We've seen so many great matches already in pools, and after this one, we'll start our championship winners bracket round 1 matches. I'm joined by Merc here at the caster desk, so already more knowledge from him than basically everyone I'm used to casting with combined.
Absolutely.
There is no question there. We're seeing a great series, though, between Infused and Mindfreak, and here's some highlights if you missed game number 2. This one, Joe, we talked about it. The decision-making and the teamwork for Mindfreak is what won them this map.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as soon as they lost 2 rounds in a row, they knew they needed to switch something up, and they just decided, let's just hit things together. It's been what's been working for us, and just taking a very decisive search and destroy.
Yeah, but decisive is definitely the way to put it. 6 rounds in a row look beautiful for them, and already we're into game number 3. The MLG admins are on top of these players. We're getting right into the action. We're not stopping. We're putting on a great show, and I love it because we're going right into Uplink. Joe, you can just tell I'm so excited to be here this weekend. I mean, what is there not to like about everything? Everything's
I mean,
awesome.
you're here, and that's all that matters, you know? I'm loving it, you
Joe,
know?
stop. You're a married man.
Don't tell anyone.
Well, I think a lot of people just heard on this broadcast throughout the venue, there's still matches going on. We've got the studio studying up on the other things, so we'll catch you up on all the action after the series is done. But for now, we've got one thing in mind. It's Infused and Mindfreak on Precinct Uplink, and we're ready to bring in the action. Joe, predictions. Is this series done here?
I think it is. Mindfreak, it just seems like they are in much more control. If Buzzo can step it up a little bit and play with Excite and Fida, they should be able to close this out.
And again, another map. I think this map draw works out so well for Mindfreak, where you can see this submachine gun rain down terror inside this main lobby area, inside top station. This one can get out of hand quick if the slaying power is still there for Fida as well as Excite. Let's get into it, folks. Game number 3, the Pool A matchup. Fighter off the break, going to be pushing towards his gas station side.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something scary for Infused because Mindfreak is starting on that preferred side, but a great start out of Infused.
Well, this is a dunk.
Absolutely, and all three of them. And
this should be close.
I think he went the wrong way.
Oh.
Very, very scary. They ended up getting shot in the back a little bit. All of Mindfreak, though, decided, let's just go to the reset. But Infused starting off very hot. Marky B already on a 3-streak, and they have control of that drone.
Oh, they're looking for a second score already off the break. I will say that's one of the fastest scores I've seen actually going towards that side that Infused just did. Typically, you spot it for the other side of the map where it's like 15 seconds, you get a 1-point play. That time around, though, 24 seconds is all it took to get the first dunk of the game. Moose staying alive. Only player in the lobby that has yet to die in this game, number 3. Currently sitting at 3-0, 2 kills off his next streak, but as I say that, Fighter cuts him down. Yeah, and
Infused just doing a great job sort of controlling that statue and that sort of drone area and constantly putting pressure on this Mindfreak base. And, you know, Uplink was sort of that second game type talking about Mindfreak where they're able to compete with the world's best behind their search and destroy, but Infused looking very good so far at the start of this game.
Oh, they definitely are already with their 3rd point on the board. That was a 1-point throw that came in from PD, but Infused, they have one goal in mind, and it's how the right way to play Uplink. It's get the kills that you need to before you focus on the objective. You see the lesser teams try to grab the drone, force something to happen, run it all around the map. Instead, keep your 4 guns up, get the kills you need to, trust in your slaying ability, and then focus on the objective.
Yeah, and it's something we saw a lot at Vegas, but again...
Here's an example of it right now.
Down by Mindfreak and Fighter, the last one left. Let's see if he can try and stop this, but Marky B able to pick him up, able to pick up 3. Marky B looking so good right now, a dunk coming in for Infused.
Beautiful stuff from Marky B, giving his team some life, and they need it if you're just tuning in. They're down 2-2. As we go to talk about it, the nades come in and he blows up to his own Scarab, so, well, they're probably on now top 5 spells of the event. Oh, well, either way, Marky B, a great start for him at 9-4, but Mindfreak right now, all their kills are getting, Joe, are in their own spawn.
Yeah.
Like, look at where their players are. The only positioning they have is the top restaurant side, and with Marky B shooting like this, you've got to think Infused are forcing a game 4.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, this is what you want to see from Infused, always fighting back. But if you're Mindfreak, you just have to get one push, can get out of your base together, get to that drone, and you can easily rack up a ton of points on this side, even with 2 minutes left.
Yep.
But they have to start slaying like they were in game number 1.
Yes, the slaying has been the big difference for me. Excite, who dropped 41 kills in game 1, is currently sitting at 3-10. Not a recipe for success on this Mindfreak team. As you can even see right now, they're just doing what they can to just get out of the front line of their base. But with PD playing from this spot inside lobby, he's got his back lane watched. He has nothing to worry about with his flank. And it's letting Infused pick either lane to go towards, whether it's construction or that front park side. This potentially could be another dunk now for Infused. The throw goes up, intercepted twice. Moose is still there. He's now dead, though, and Mindfreak stopped the push.
Yeah, and they have to reset this drone, and that was a huge kill by Nolson to get Excite. If you're Excite there, just slow down. Your team's pushing up that statue side. Control that middle area. Infused has to push into it. Instead, gives Infused a kill that allows them to push up map control. And look, all of Mindfreak still stuck in that corner.
Yeah, and this is basically where they've been the whole map. Marky B, dude, he's just on point right now. The fact that he stays alive and gets a kill there and then falls back to just keep his presence on that side of the map, the drone has to stop in its tracks. They cannot afford to try to push up this objective, and Marky B knows that. It's why he's holding these off angles. Now his teammate will pick it up, and they'll look to begin to move this drone towards the area they want to. Infused are commanding the pace of this game, and a lot of it comes down to the scoreboard, Joe. Right now, they are a combined positive 15 on the first half of Uplink.
Yeah, and look, it just Moose goes one way, and all of Mindfreak think he's going that way, and Infused able to take the drone. And again, all they need to do right now is play against the clock, because Mindfreak, you know, there's only 30 seconds left in this half, and this is that preferred side. So Infused is feeling really good going into that second half. But let's see if Mindfreak's able to get a score on the board before that halftime.
We'll have to see if it works out for them. They do get the entry kill from Fighter, but once again, Marky B is putting himself in the perfect positions to stop players from clearing lanes. 4 go dead. Mindfreak will go into the half scoreless. Joe, I will say it, that is one of the most one-sided sides of Uplink I've seen so far in the main stage this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so hard in Uplink when you're at a deficit because you always feel like you have to keep picking up that drone and making plays with it, and that's something that we were touching on. They're just not getting the kills that they need, And if they are, they're just picking up the drone and going instead of getting that second set. It's just that pressure when you're down 6-0. So what Mindfreak need to do, just control middle map, get that first set of kills, and don't be afraid to just slow down after that point. Don't force it.
What's funny too is the teams that are best at getting that second set of kills are also the best at rallying drones, because rallying scores, because once you get that second set of kills, you get your teammates pushed up further up on the map, which is where you then can force the spawns for your teammates out into that back alley in the top left of your minimap, and then you can rally the drone in for a dunk, 2 dunks, 3 dunks, and really rake in the scores. Already Infused look to get this drone pushed up even faster than side number 1, which is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, a very starting strat. All 4 of them just go up the middle, take the drone, and just try taking it towards take it. But that gives Mindfreak a little bit of map control. This is the set of kills that we were talking about. Let's see if they can get this, and they're able to put points on the board. Try not to force anything with the drone, but look at this. Fida going all the way behind them. Let's see if he's able to do anything.
Oh, gosh.
Mindfreak, though, needs to stay alive, because if not, those other 2 guys, if they go down, this could be another score for Infused.
And look, great, yes, he does this, but what is it for? He's not there to help his teammates. Infused in the end get the drone. They're going to go for this throw now. They do wind up missing, so at least Mindfreak will stop it for now. But for me, that's a push that Mindfreak definitely had a scoring opportunity on, and they just kind of failed. Yeah,
I mean, when you know fight is going around the enemy base, the other 3 of you just need to stay alive, post up L trigger, get into power positions. But again, now we're at that mid sort of map stall. Mindfreak has a drone. I'm not too sure what they're doing with it, but again, they need to get those slays mid-map.
Well, I think the big thing is they realize that we don't have any pressure inside lobby, so they're just trying to stall out as much time as possible. Look, even now, how often do you see the drone get thrown back into basically their spawn? They're just playing keep away from Infused right now, because Infused recognize that, hey, we've got all lobby control. We basically can dictate the pace of this map for the moment. And Mindfreak are doing everything they can to try to stop them from getting that done.
Yeah, that was a huge first kill by Marky, stopping that push, getting excited with the drone, and that slows down this push. Again, they're just not executing. And those second set of kills, huge play by Shox, staying alive in the base. Have to be careful, though, that drone might reset. He's able to hang on to it, and
this for me right now is a must-score opportunity. They've got players where they want to. They're pushed up, but again, they keep trading these kills, and it goes back to the slang we talked about earlier. 9 and 19 from Excite. Every time Mindfreak look to push that wave forward, there's already 2 people there ready to stop them.
Yeah, and there's only 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. Infused have that drone control. Moose picking up one. PD going behind the base, and they might be able to get another dunk here. It's able to stop. Let's see if PD... Yep, he should be able to get this one in.
Boom. Nelson.
I was like, oh, I was confused.
No, he let Asimek get it, because guess what? As I was talking about earlier, PD was looking for the rally. He's going back to spawn trap them in that back gas area. I think it's pretty safe to say, with PD shooting like this, we are going to see at least a game 4 in this series, which will bring us back to heart. Oh, no. Woo. That's just not nice, PD. You are not a nice boy.
And this is scary for Mindfreak, because next up you go to a hard point, and if Infuse continues to slay like this, we could be heading to a game 5.
And that's the thing that everyone talked about, really, with like the likes of Rise Nation with their performance at Vegas. Rise played exceptional, do not get me wrong. But I think the big worry people had was Vicento had an unreal event, and people were wondering, can he match that this weekend? Because it really put Rise in scenarios that they wouldn't normally be used to being in, with how much of a slang presence he bought.
Right.
Well, guess what? I feel the same way about Mindfreak with Excite's 41 kills in game 1. Can he match that? Remember, for a lot of that map, we were in a, 40-second game? It was still very winnable, even with the scores you saw being put up by Excite.
Yeah, I mean, he just is going to have to continue in game number 4, get some support from the rest of his team, but for now, it's looking like Infuse is just going to be able to close this one out.
Yep.
A very impressive uplink. I think we touched on it. I mean, besides maybe FaZe last night, this is one of the more one-sided precinct uplinks I've seen this so far.
And I think the big thing, too, that we haven't really touched on is Infused really didn't look like a team through games 1 and 2, but now they seem to have found themselves, right? They've taken things back under their control. They've set the tone for this map, and for the most part, their decisions have been on point. Now, Marky B's got to be feeling good in his squad to be able to at least force the game 5 in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things when you're sort of the in-game leader and your team is listening to you and things are going right, when you're able to just be comfortable, trust your teammates. I mean, Marky B, he's that in-game leader, and he's topping the scoreboard right now, has 24 kills. This is what you want, and that's, I mean, whew, I thought he was about to do that. But that's what you want heading into that next game.
Moose is elite right now, 26-19. Petey's there with him as well. 20 seconds left, and it's at a point right now where we're just seeing if Mindfreak can get one score on the board. It doesn't appear so. The European squad will stay alive to at least see a Game 4 in this best-of-5 series. Remember, though, we've still got a lot of Call of Duty tonight here on the main stage. With MLG Primetime starting next, we'll have the exact order of what matches we'll see very soon to bring you guys at home. But there's a look at Infused. They know they still have a lot of work ahead of them, though, if they want to win this series.
Absolutely. Speaking of Primetime tonight, I heard you might have a little Optic versus Envious.
Hey, you don't spoil that.
I did it.
I did. Okay, well, Adam, if you're out there, don't yell at me. Yell at Joe. Thank you. That was not my decision, but no, everyone can kind of put 2 and 2 together there. You'd expect that to be one that hopefully makes it on the mainstream with what a history we have there in the E-Classico, as people call it. You see there below your screen, I'm Jack, but more importantly, this is Merc. Joe, you're doing a great job with the casting today. Earlier today, Joe found out, he'd be returning to the caster desk, and you were hesitant.
I wasn't sure why, but no, I appreciate it.
But now look at you. You're replacing Maven. Please, dear God. Please.
I don't know if I can do that.
Please, dear God. No, let's take a look at some of the replays from that Game 3, as it was very one-sided. Really told a different story than what we saw in the first couple games for Infused. And a lot of it came down to the pressure they put on in the slang and really their positioning around the map.
Yeah, just right off the bat. I mean, within 2 minutes, they had a 5-0 lead, and I think they just sort of knew from there they were able to close it up, and Mindfreak just not able to get anything going. All of their pushes just shut down very early.
And think, they took the lead in that game in 24 seconds in with the first dunk. They did not give it up through the next 9 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, all of them just slaying very well. I mean, everybody on the board, was participating. And that's what you want to see from Infused.
I don't know what time it is in Australia, but hopefully fatigue isn't setting in for these players, as for some of them it's their first time, for some of these A&Z guys this weekend, it's their first time participating in an MLG event. Obviously it's a long travel for them to get out here, but the same can be said for Infused, as they've got to come on over from Europe. You played on some international events. What does jet lag do to you? Is it something that actually affects you in game?
Oh, absolutely, and I think you know this from casting some Gfinity events.
Oh, trust me.
A lot of naps.
Yes.
A lot of hydration. I mean, it is very difficult to deal with, but Mindfreak, they've been out here a good amount of time. Hopefully, they're able to adjust. But yeah, of course, they won't say it affects them, but you do get tired very quickly.
Oh, look, we're on the big screen.
Hello.
Hello out there in the crowd. I try to see if you guys are waving back. Up, I think I see a middle finger. Let's move on. No, I was kidding. As we're ready for game number 4. I love seeing this because the Global Pro League focus for me, we've been pushing, I'll be honest, the MLG content team, we've been pushing the EU versus NA. We want it to happen. COD Champs Grand Finals between Splice and Envy gave me chills when I heard the Europe versus NA chants in the crowd, USA, everything going on. It got me excited, and we have it more than ever before this year. Reminder, folks, next weekend we'll be at the CWL Paris Open.
That's
one of the large open European events. I'll be out there. Maven will be out there. More Call of Duty to be played. Another $100,000 up for grabs.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing event out there in Paris. The fans are always amazing out there. I mean, they love Call of Duty. But one of the craziest things to me is 20 teams in the North American teams in the open bracket. It's going to be a crazy tournament to see who's able to advance.
Oh, 100%. It's going to be 1-2 where those pro points come into play yet again. Here's your rig draft as FTL jump. I've been loving seeing it. I'm just waiting for one of those plays to happen. Did you get to catch Silly and E United?
I saw it.
Saw that play, right?
Yep.
So that happened online in the 2K. Haven't seen anything too crazy here this weekend. Woo! There has been so much Call of Duty played, whether it's in the open bracket, on the main stage, on the featured stations, and we're just getting started. It is Saturday night here in Atlanta. Merc, does this series end here, or are we going to a Game 5?
I think we're going to a Game 5, Jack.
Oh, I love it!
Infused just looked so good in that game number 3. However, if Excite, Fida, and Shocks are able to slay the way they were in game number 1, this could end right here.
This could end right here. Joey D says Excite and Shocks are his players to watch. Well, I'm going to reverse you on that and say Moose and Petey are the 2 slayers that we saw from the CWL London event go off for Infused, who need to match their performance right now. Off the break, the first kill's a team kill from RTB.
Yeah.
And the second kill is a team kill from Buzzo.
A lot of cars blowing up.
Yes.
A lot of grenades, but this is what you want from Mindfreak. Get that started, and this is what you want to see from Shox. Push up a little bit, allow his teammates to get in the power positions on that bridge, make it very difficult for Infused to get in, but a huge entry kill by PD.
Definitely PD trying to be the one to swing this one back in his team's favor, but the NV4 has definitely a role on this long sight line near bridge, as it does look like Infused for the moment have outmuscled this Mindfreak team to get back in control of this hill. But let's talk about retaliation a little bit. I was talking with Mud-Dog, Call of Duty aficionado, earlier today, who talked all about how on retaliation, no lead is big enough because really every hill can be a money hill on this map.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to push those spawns out and spawn the other team, especially on that broken and that graveyard hill, it just makes it so difficult to sort of, you know, get into that hill because you're spawning so far away. There's so many different pushes. You have to be able to execute on that first or second push, or you have to rotate.
Oh, and TP is one of the people who's been very vocal about how much he loves this new hard point. I'm sure you agree as well from the updates we saw a couple months ago now, where it slows down the pace of this game. Spawn control is very key. Obviously, you got to wait for your teammates to go for coordinated pushes. It's not all about just flooding the hard point like we saw earlier on this year. And right now, Infused, they're up to a 32-17 lead as they look to potentially take this hard point and continue their opportunity for a reverse sweep in the series.
Yeah, and we're getting to 20 seconds left in this hill, and let's see, all of the players on Mindfreak, you're going to see at the top left of your screen, all of them are going across that bridge.
Yeah.
And number one, I believe that is Marky B. He's going to be huge right now because if he gets taken out, Infused might spawn out, and this is one of those hills where you can get an easy 60 if you're able to get those kills. But a huge first kill by Marky B. Nolson picks up the second one, and watch that mini-map. Look where Mindfreak is going to spawn, number 7 and 8, all the way across that bridge.
Yeah, that's Shox and Fida now having to push basically across the entirety of retaliation. And Marky B knows this. Look, as he goes to left trigger it, a little bit too late. I do believe Mindfreak will get the break. And guess what? It's because Excite is staying close alive near that front market area, which forces a spawns out for Infused near that back scaffolding side. And it gives his teammate the lower street spawn near the bottom of your minimap. So Mindfreak do get some pressure towards this hill. Now it's Infused's turn to try to flip this one in their favor. It does appear that it will happen now with 24 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and look already. Look, number 8 and number 4 from Infused. I mean, I don't know who that is. Nolson sneaking his way behind that broken building. He's going to make a huge play on rotation. But if Mindfreak are able to, you know, sniff him out, he will spawn out. So this is a huge play. Nolson now needs to stay alive. A very big kill because he has no help from any of his team.
A beautiful grenade right there from Buzzo, but I do believe it's about a second too late as his teammate did just spawn out. And I think Marky B and crew know this as they push the hard point. They break into broken, and it's Shox last alive. How did he sneak in here?
Yeah, but he's got to be careful because he has no teammates around him right now. Knows the players on that bridge, just trying to stay alive. Doing a very good job right now, and that's what you want to see from your Mindfreak team. Doing such a good job staying alive. He's still alive, but Nolson finally took him out, and now it's a 1v1 to see who will get the rest of this time. Very good positioning by Nolson. Now, if they're able to hold, he's not getting into the hill, but now it looks like Infused will have about a 100-point lead going into a reset.
Well, his thought process there is that lower street spawn does get you back to the hard point a little bit quicker, so he'd rather play in the back of the map with that NV4, try to stop the pressure as his teammates can pick up that front side a little bit easier from that top bridge area. In the end, it winds up working out for him there, as Infused will now grow themselves an 80-second lead, but we still have to preach what we said earlier. No lead is safe enough on a map like Retaliation as we move towards the final hill of this first rotation. And still, this kill feed is entirely red. It's a combined 10 streak between these 4 players.
Yeah, I mean, this is just what we were talking about at the end of Game 3. If Infused is able to slay like this, it's going to be very hard to beat. All of Mindfreak is negative, all of Infused positive.
And Joe, it's not all about kills, but as Mr. X will say, it is. It is, yeah, because guess what? You need to get kills to get in the hard point, and when you have 4 players positive, and you've got Nolson now on a 7 streak, I mean, where's your opportunity to come back if you're Mindfreak? Where's your opportunity to even stay in this game?
Yeah, and it's difficult too because, you know, Infused starting to rack up those streaks, they're going to get more of those payloads. But a very good job by Mindfreak to sort of insert themselves back into this game. Again, when you're going to that new set of hard points, if they're able to execute properly, especially on number 3, that graveyard, and number 4, that broken, they can get right back into that game.
Ironically enough, Buzzo for Mindfreak, who had the abysmal start to that first hard point, is the one really doing the best statistically for his team. Yes, Shox is leading an objective, but that's only 27 seconds to his name. Basically, everyone on Infused has him beat there. At the end of the first rotation, this one was all Infused, and Petey on a 3 streak, double positive at 16 and 8. Everyone spawning out for Mindfreak. This is an example of where, hey, even a hill-like bridge can turn into a full 60 for a team.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, just that lead is just continuing to grow. And what happens is Mindfreak gets into this situation where giving up scrap time is you're
no longer
not
allowed.
able to do it. So you have to clutch up on rotations and get that scrap time. So let's see if they're able to execute it, but Infused looking very good right now.
It's almost like every second that goes by, their percentage chance of winning diminishes even more than normal, because now you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into one opportunity where it's, we need to win every gunfight on rotation and in the hill if we want any chance to make this possible, especially when you're down by almost 2 minutes in time. We'll see if it's possible for Mindfreak. They're absolutely not ahead of it yet, but they basically need a flawless game, and it starts right here on the lower street.
Yeah, and they were doing what we're talking about, got that scrap time, got 3 kills, but Marky B doing a great job staying alive, allows his teammates to get control of that patio. You know, you're able to rain down so much fire onto this bottom hill.
It just seems like Infused keeps somehow staying alive there. Buzzo with a cheeky grenade.
Still cars to be blown up.
Yeah, somehow this far into the game, Mindfreak do put enough pressure on the hill, I do believe, to be able to get control of it even for a second. But now is where Infused look to go for the retake, and with 25 seconds left, they might as well just go for it.
Yeah, and if you see their spawns, they're spawning in that back market area, and they want to stay alive right now. I'm not sure why they decided to push for this, because you're going to see all of Mindfreak are controlling that area right now, going into that graveyard. All of Infused spawned on the opposite side of the map.
I think the big thing was that they had peace of mind, in their opinion, that there was nobody flanking behind them. But one player on Mindfreak actually pushed to the top hotel, snuck by a player in the bedroom, didn't challenge him, left him for his teammates, and pinched from Market, which forced the spawns out for Infused. They weren't ready for that. Thankfully, though, they've got streaks to go for the break, and in the end, it works out for Nolson. The guy is 23 and 12. There breaks this new setup, and that right there, folks, might be the dagger.
Yeah, absolutely. Nolson just hanging on to that Trinity rocket because he knew how important this hill was. PD has that reactive armor just hanging out in the hill. And this could be the end of the game. I mean, I think there's one player pushed up. I believe that's Shox. He gets taken out. And again, I mean, he does have FTL jump in his sight, but this is so difficult to do. Gets himself into a cheeky little position if he's able to win a one-on-one. But PD pops that reactive armor right away and locking down this hard point.
Reactive 2-piece. They wipe the whole team. Mindfreak, Infused can't win off this hard point, but they're pretty darn close to where they can give up the full 60 seconds here. They could still be up by a full 100 seconds. They could basically talk strategies for the next map if they wanted to right now, as all they've got to do is just get 6 more seconds.
Yeah,
Mindfreak, let's see what you can do here.
Yeah, you'll see from Nilsson, as soon as he's able to get a kill, he's probably gonna pop this camo. Yep, you'll see it right away. Picks up a 2-piece, such a huge play. Gets into that back staircase, such a good position for this, and that will be the map.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a Game 5 between Infused and Mindfreak. This has been 2 different stories of 2 squads right now. Games 1 and 2 was completely controlled by Mindfreak. It was, honestly, it literally just seems like they just flipped. Where games 1 and 2 was better communication, better slaying from Mindfreak. Overall, just the teams being more coordinated, to then whoop, Infused with the way better slaying now in the uplink. Better communication in the hard point, winning those kills on rotations, and now we've got another search and destroy going to a Game 5.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to come down to that, what we talked about, that communication, decision making. We'll see if Infused is able to make all those tough decisions, because Mindfreak looked very strong in that game number 2.
And we're going to Crusher for Game 5, and we've seen some teams this weekend that have basically been superstars on this map and game mode. But before we get to it, though, we've got to throw it to a quick break. We'll be right back. Europeans, grab your Nandos. Australians, get your kangaroos. We're going to a Game 5 between Mindfreak and Infused on the main stage. I'm casted with Merc. Literally, life is perfect right now. And why is Maven giving me a piggyback on the bottom of the screen?
Why isn't he?
That's the right question to ask. Prime time starts up after. Know where to call this Game 5.
I think you have to lean towards Infused just because they've just looked like red hot. Just in terms of slaying, Mindfreak hasn't even been able to touch them the past few games.
Here is a look at some of the hardpoint highlights. And this one for me came down to Infused winning gun engagements from the start to the end. And Nolson was a big part of that. He made a couple nice camo plays, went on a 7 streak here and there, was double positive through most of it. And again, Infused, they get the lead, they run away with it, and here's a breakdown again. Oh, this is so beautiful. Buzzo, another slow game from him, a .81 hardpoint KD, a 2.08 from Nolson. Most kills on the team for Infused, but look at the hardpoint stats at the top, 84-21 on that Cathedral Hill for Infused, a full 1 minute difference.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at Hill number 4, I'm kind of surprised. Only 50 seconds total taken.
Wow. And
that's one of those, that broken building should see a lot more there, but Infused, able to take 50 seconds off that second one. I love this graphic so much.
Oh, this is only going to get better and better, folks. We're going to keep improving as we move towards Championship Sunday. Remember, this is a $200,000 tournament. The prize pool's continuing to grow in competitive Call of Duty from some of the announcements earlier this weekend with the $700,000 for Stage 1, $700,000 for Stage 2, $1.5 million for champs. And we're happy to announce that Joe and I will be a team of 2 this year. No, I'm just kidding, but imagine.
We're going to compete in the Call of Duty World League Global Pro League.
Yes, the Call of Duty World League Global Pro League. It's a mouthful, but we're excited. Game 5 getting ready to be started. I do believe players are now getting back to their setups. Quick little bathroom break came in. We're back in the main view again for everybody out there in the venue. Stay excited, folks. We've got more Call of Duty to be played. There's G Fuel in here. Go grab some. Make sure you're set up in those chairs. Get them because there's some big teams coming up soon on the main stage. Joe, one thing for Infused, one thing for Mindfreak that they need to do in this game. Break it down for me.
I mean, I think Infused just need to stay decisive. It's something we've been talking about this entire series. Trust your gut. Just go for it. Have a 4-man push. Mindfreak, keep that similar style, but win those gunfights. That's something you weren't seeing in games number 3 and 4. They have to get off to a hot start. I feel like if Infused take the first few rounds, I think it might be all over very quick.
All right, you're saying the key is for Infused to get on the board quick and get ahead. So far, when they've done that this series, they've what? They got the first dunk in that uplink and held the lead for 9 minutes and 36 seconds. They get the lead on that first hard point in that last game, and they don't look back from there. So that seems like the right call for me, Joe. It's why we brought you on here. It's why you're one of the smartest people in the history of Call of Duty. I'll say it right now. Buzzo and crew, what can they do? They're representing Australia, but what would be so heartbreaking for this team is if they do lose this series, they will go 0-4 in pools, which, okay, you know what? They're going to go to the championship losers bracket. They made it through that open bracket. But here's the thing. 3 Game 5 losses and a Game 4 loss. It wasn't like they were completely walked over, Joe.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when they get down to that losers bracket, they're going to face a few teams, so I think they're just going to be a little bit more superior. That's going to give them some momentum, and I think that's going to make them give that confidence back because, again, they got thrown into a tough pool. I mean, FaZe, Infuse, E6, you know, Rise. I mean, just some of these teams are ridiculous. So, you know, if Mindfreak, you know, if they can grab a win here, get advanced a little bit in that losers bracket, win a match or 2, might see them tomorrow.
It's crazy to think that Pool A was already the pool of death, and then you added in the 5th and final team being the best in the history of the ANZ region.
Jack, why did you do that?
That was not me, that was Maven. Hashtag blame Maven as always. There it is, that's Crusher. It'll be the map we're going to for Game 5. I was talking to some pro players, Luminosity, Optic, and bringing up this map in specific, right, about Crusher S&D. Panda are so good at this game, and game type, sorry. Why? Why are they so good at it, and what can teams do to match their gameplay?
So there was a few things that I noticed. One was Profizi. He entried a lot, but the second one was fastball. He had a lot of quick flank routes with that E-Red that just seemed to cut teams, or cut. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. Catch them off guard.
That's what I was saying,
It's
Jack.
okay. It's a different C word. That's fine. As we're into Game 5 off the break, you see how this mini-map is developing. A little bit more spread from both of these teams, basically putting pressure towards every single lane.
And this is surprising because this is one of those maps where you just see usually 4 to that B bomb site.
Yep.
Either the defense has to decide to retake it or push it out. But again, you know, Excite has that E-Rad inside of A site, but all across the board, and it looks like finally Infused is going to group up, push through that bomb site, and see if they can catch Mindfreak off guard. And now they're just actually deciding to go back.
They're basically just,
getting...
they're starting this round 30 seconds late. It's basically what's happening right now, Joe. And now here's your normal pressure towards B. Both teams just playing those mind games with each other, which is why I love this game type. And it's going to be Mindfreak to push out towards this rock side. 3 kills already for Infused. Shocks by himself, trying to even things back out. It's Infused striking first as they're ready for the pressure from Mindfreak.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about. Mindfreak, again, being very decisive, decide, you know, we're not going to put this bomb down. We're actually going to push through, but they didn't win any. I believe they only won 1 gunfight. This is what was scary, was Infused was starting to get a very hot hand in games 3 and 4. If Mindfreak do not win these gunfights, it's going to be very difficult for them to sort of play that style they did in game number 2.
Oh, 100%. And that style was basically wipe 3 players of your opponents off the map in the first 15 seconds. And you need to do that by winning gunfights. Now, though, still the same idea from Infused, which is basically have Marky B go off into his own la-la land, see what he can do, and then have the rest of the 3 stay together and make a play towards a bomb site.
Yeah, but look at Mindfreak. I believe it is Buzzo who decides to just get that information. They do that same setup, sort of, I'll watch Cross gain the info, you 3 flank around, and it looks like Infused is going to put this bomb down, but I have to be wary. All 3 of Mindfreak behind them. Buzzo has to be wary as well, as all 3 of Infused are starting to push him. Needs to stay alive and get back to his team.
He shoots 1 ball, it's like, nope, this is not going to work out for me. 4v2, Infused, they've just flipped the map. They're all the way inside the spawn of Mindfreak. And they still have to focus on planting this objective as well, but Mindfreak, they know the bomb is down. They know where it is, and they're just going to go ahead, wait this one on out. 30 seconds left. This one should be round for MF, as they will tie this one back up.
Yeah, and it's obviously very difficult when you drop that bomb, but, you know, Marky B and Nelson, what they have to do is isolate some one-on-one gunfights if they want to try and take this round, but the clock is against them. Only 17 seconds left, and it just looks like Nelson and Marky B aren't even deciding to go in.
Yep. And back in my goodness, okay. Nelson with 2. It's absolutely possible. There's one more kill. They spot the final one. Oh my God, he's got to run away. 2 seconds left. Can he stay alive long enough? He's just around the goal. Sees him on the screen. Okay.
What was that?
I couldn't even have made that close by telling my teammates to run at him.
You have the bomb down. You know they're not there.
You don't have to move.
Don't move.
You know what, guys? Though, let's go ahead and let's give them their payloads. I think that was their thought process there.
Yeah, maybe they just wanted
because they just sprinted. They sprinted a straight. There was 4. He was hitting 4 people with those first shots.
Yeah, it just well, luckily survived the round, but very scary. Don't want to do that again, but again, Mindfreak, look how quick they're playing, just so decisive. I believe they should probably use this bomb down, but all of Infused all together. Looks like they're going to make a counter push, but they have to be careful. Excite in here with an E-Rad. This is where you want to be with that weapon. Let's see if he's able to pick up 2. He's not. Great pickup by Nolson, and great bait by Moose, just sliding in and out of that doorway.
It's just so awkward right there for Excite. You can see he just never could get confident. Thankfully for Shocks, that hipfire bullet does land on the Moose to at least put it in a 2v1 scenario. Nolson, who was almost gifted, basically the weirdest ace I've ever seen, now looking to retake this site. Silver lining, though, for Infused, as this bomb still hasn't been planted.
And he might catch
Nolson will
really
fly on out. He's got good timing on the 1 hip fire, but doesn't actually check the bomb. He doesn't check the bomb, and now he'll look to retake this. A site doesn't win the one-on-one, so because he doesn't look towards that plant, he gets punished for it there. And Merc, oh, you look frustrated.
Jack, what are these rounds?
I don't know.
I'm just very confused right now. I mean, obviously, Buzzo, I'm honestly surprised he kept planting the bomb. I mean, you thought he would just get off of it, but decides to put it down.
I mean, I guess
it's the one-on-one.
That close. He was within a half a second, really, of planting, but either way, when you see someone jumping around the site like that, I think you expect it to at least check towards the objective. Not going to happen there, as Mindfreak are now up 2-1. And Marky B and crew, they're going to go a little bit more with the normal strategy on this map. rush towards B, go for the objective.
Yeah, and it looks like Mindfreak on defense, just trying to eat that information if they see anything A, but as soon as these nades start to go off, they're going to know where Infused is. Didn't sound like it, and it looks like Infused are ready. Looks like P is going to plant that bomb. And this is very tough, but this is one of those decisions that you have to make as Mindfreak to sort of retake it. And you know where Infused is going to be. There's only a few places you can go.
That's one of the slowest rotations I've seen from the boys of Mindfreak, and I guess it's because Buzzo spotted nobody on the cross. Excite gets first blooded there by Marky B, and that's not a good start to this round.
Yeah, and I just don't like that play. Excite's all by himself, and he runs into 4 of Infused, but Shock's able to pick up 1. Let's see if he can make any other plays. Buzzo picks up another while Fighter goes down. Marky B falls off the map, and we're now into a one-on-one, but Nelson does have camo, and this is huge. Let's see if he's going to pop. He does, but Shock's, and he gets the fuse.
And that's going to earn him camo as well. Somehow Mindfreak win this round. And that'll put him up 3-1. Another insane scenario.
Great play by Shocks to just continue shooting in that path, but Nelson, man, that is a mistake popping that active camo.
Look at it again from Shocks. He just keeps firing, and with the last bullet hits him in the back of his shoe to get that kill.
And you can't forget Marky falls off that wall run,
Yeah.
and that puts his team in a very bad situation. Mindfreak just capitalizing on mistakes, and again, they now have payload advantage.
They most certainly do.
Oh wait, camo's still, he does still have it.
So maybe it was like mid-activation.
Yeah, it must have been. Shocks has it as well, though, and again, look, they just play so quick, Mindfreak. They're just taking control of this A site, and they put Infused in such a desperate situation. Excite picks up 1, probably again with that E-Rad, just putting so much pressure as Shocks does pick up another one, now in a 4v2, and finally, Mindfreak starting to win all of their one-on-one engagements.
S&D so far this series, in round count, it's been 9-3 in favor of Mindfreak to this point. They just look like the better team. Again, Infused fighting from the back foot. This could work out for Marky B as he's gotten behind 2 players now. Mindfreak and does get out with his life, so definitely winnable round for Infused as they look to bring this one back within 1.
Absolutely. For some reason, Mindfreak just able to just give away 2 of their players' lives.
Yeah.
Now we're in a 2v2, but Shocks does pick up another one, pops camo. Such a great play out of Shocks.
And just use it. Pop the payload, win the round for your team. 4-1 round count. And we'll see it again. Shocks, instant reaction time, uses that payload ability to its fullest. And now Mindfreak are looking to shut the door on Infused. This international battle has been so much fun to watch, so much fun to cast. You can see how into it they are. The new 4th there, Excite. A lot of people call me his twin. We do look very similar.
Yeah, you're like cousins, maybe.
Handsome guy.
Yeah.
Handsome guy, I'll put it that way. As now Infused, they're going back to earlier strategies. Lurk with Marky B, have the 3 stay together, and I can't say it's been working this series.
Yeah, and it looks like he might be able to catch some timing. 2 of Mindfreak, though, already behind him. They're going to catch out. I believe that's Moose, and he is. Shocks able to pick him up, having such a good game, 10-2. But Marky, again, while those 2 players were flanking, and Marky was able to get behind him, Excite now only with a pistol. Because he does have that sniper and has to be careful. Nelson coming up behind him. PD able to pick up 2, and Nelson left with a sniper pistol. Obviously very difficult to do, but a very important round for Infused.
Infused are staying in this one. I'm going to ask to see the scoreboard from our observer here to show off exactly where we stand after this, because Moose 0-5 currently in this game. You need a little bit more from basically your MVP on this team. Back at the CWL London event, Nolson's doing everything he can these last 2 maps, at a monster performance in the hard point. Now 8-5, as we'll take a look at how this play develops. And look, Infused, they know where Mindfreak are going. It's no secret. Just get toward this area.
It'll be interesting to see, similar to round number 1, if Mindfreak decide to just push through, or if they're going to put this bomb down. Looks like they elect to put the bomb down, and now comes a huge play out of Infused, because again, there's streaks coming down in Shocks. I love this play. You have the round advantage. Use your streaks while you can. You know where Infused is. Excite picks up 2. I love that play out of Shocks. Very decisive, Jack. We've been saying it all series.
Yep. Force the hand.
Absolutely. Use those streaks. Use those payloads when you can, and just make that round deficit even further.
Beautiful stuff from Shocks. Mindfreak 1 round away. Nolson, you've been going off, my friend, but right now it is not enough for your team. As we look to see if this series ends here, it has been a battle from game number 1. Fight is only 1-5, but guess what? When you've got Shocks going 12-3, he'll make up for it right now. And again, Infused are still using the same strategy. They're keeping Marky B on the lurk, and now Mindfreak look to just outmuscle them here. I think this round's going to be done quick. 1, 2 kills. Make it 3 now for Nelson. No, not going to happen. Marky B by himself in the 1 versus 3. And again, that strategy for me of splitting off 1-3 has just not worked for Infused this whole series.
Yeah, not only that, but they leave Moose on by the wall run where all of Mindfreak decided to hit, so he's obviously in a 3v1 in a gunfight, and they lose that, and that starts the advantage for Mindfreak. And just look how they're playing together as a beautiful game number 5 out of Mindfreak. He's so, look at Fido, he's very happy to be able to win that game. And hey, a little dab there, Jack, from your cousin.
All right, Excite, I'm going to talk to you about that one, my friend. But either way, Mindfreak get the series victory as they will take down Infused. And you know what? They won't end the pool 0-4.
Yeah.
They'll get a series victory, sits them at 1-3. And overall, they have 2 Map 5 losses, 1 Map 4 loss, and then a Map 5 win. Solid showing from the Aussies.
Both of these teams,
yep.
Again, Infused taking phase 2 of Map 5, beating Rise. I think they'll actually finish bottom of the pool because of this tiebreaker where Mindfreak beats them. But you know, a great showing from both of these international teams in a very tough pool.
That was an absolute blast to cast here with Merc, but we've got some more Call of Duty to be played tonight. Do not go anywhere, folks. When we come back, we're going to kick off prime time here on Saturday night. We'll be right back.